Good evening, ladies and gents. It is episode 15 of the Fanzone Podcast. Thanks for joining us, as always. I hope you've had a fantastic weekend. Joining myself this evening, we've obviously got Colin and Ange. As usual, they are with us tonight for this evening's episode. And before we get started, just wanted to drop you all a reminder that you can now catch the latest episodes of the Fanzone podcast over on Spotify. So if you can't make it for a live show or can only listen for half an hour, then you can start your week right tomorrow with the latest episode available at the click of a button. All you've got to do is head over to Spotify and search for the Fanzone podcast. You'll be able to follow us and download all the episodes the day after they are live. Whatever platform you're watching on, make sure you drop a like on the episode. So whether you're on YouTube or Twitter, drop a like. It really does help us out. And to all those of you who are following us over on our socials, we really do appreciate it. In today's episode, we've got plenty to bring you today. As always, you'll have our post-match reactions, our thoughts on some new faces in the squad, some special announcements to look forward to, and plenty more. So without further ado, let's get stuck into episode 15. As always, we'll start with our post-match reactions. And if you are watching it live at home, then of course you can share your thoughts along with us and we'll discuss them as we go. But Colin, we'll head to you first. What did you make of yesterday's game?
Pretty sure it's me every week, which I don't mind, but we do have
I like it that it's you.
we do have a lady in the room, do you know what I mean? And it should be ladies first, innit? Do you know?
We can always swap it around. Go on, Ange, what did you make of yesterday's game?
I mean, I love it that we've already got comments like, the frustration, the absolute frustration of playing a team that come to sit and not play football and time waste and take 20 minutes for a throw in and roll around on the floor. Honest to God. We weren't at it at all yesterday. We were completely off it, but we weren't allowed to play, were we? They didn't let us play. So if anything, and I think the manager seemed quite happy with their performance. So God knows what they've been watching for the rest of the season. I would be absolutely fuming if I paid money to travel that far and watch that abysmal performance from Cheltenham. Yeah, I thought everyone was a little bit off it, but that was a match that we previously would not have got 3 points from though. So for me, it's an improvement again. And I don't even know what else to say. I don't know whether I'm more fuming at the way Cheltenham played or at Conor Bradley getting that yellow card. Because what? So their number 3 should have been sent off if that's the case, because I knew he was taking every corner. Why did he not know he was taking every corner? It took him 10 minutes to get to the corner every time. Yeah, sorry, I'm just gonna rant, so it's probably better to move on to Colin because I'm just gonna keep on ranting about how rubbish they were.
Yeah, it was a frustrating watch. I'm sure everyone in the comments will agree. Carl, what did you make of it yesterday?
I think we need to give credit to Cheltenham. I think it's easy for us to sit around and say, "Oh, I'd be frustrated if I had to pay to watch that," and it's poor football. Not to do about right, to be fair, but it's poor, to rock up and waste time from the 5th minute and all that. But at the end of the day, I think we might have said it a few weeks ago. I can't remember the game, the team we played, but that's all they've got at their disposal, isn't it? That's one of the main that's one of the main things in their armory, isn't it? Really, to utilize that rule or lack of rules when it comes to time wasted in gamesmanship and the dark arts, as it's known when Diego Simeone's Atletico Madrid team's getting involved. So I've been to many a elite club over the years, and we did it to them. JJ used to bend down and juggle the ball behind his neck and all that type of stuff to waste valuable seconds, and it's the only similar type of thing, really. I think the game itself and the result itself just highlighted again to me the mental strength of the side and the team that we've got at our disposal. it's really good to see, because it's a game last season that, you know, Everett, I'm sure, will probably say, and I'm sure he's even said it already, that we'd have probably lost that, or certainly wouldn't have got a result or a win. So that's exactly why we are where we are, and we're only 8 points away from the automatic places, which is, in my eyes, a very important thing. I'm not bothered about games in hand. Other teams have goal difference and all that bollocks. We're 8 points away from second and place nearly. What is it? Is it how many points away from first? Is it?
I think it's the same. I think it's the same. I think they're both tied, but I think Plymouth.
I'm not by any stretch of imagination we're saying that we're going to finish in the top 2. But my point is we're within touching distance, and we're in touching we're in touching distance because of the attitude and the ability we have to be able to grind out wins. So
yeah,
indeed, it's a credit to the progress that I think we've made. That teams, you know, are coming to our place, not even thinking they're going to snatch a result and just trying to defend. I think Everett said there was one team trying to win it and one team just trying to not lose, which was a pretty good reflection. But good evening to you all. Good evening, Chris, Brandon, Danny, David, Malk, Keith, all of you that are tuned in. We do appreciate you being here. We've got some comments that we will quickly run through. There is an awful lot this evening. For my own sake, I hope it doesn't carry on like this, because I won't be able to keep up.
There was a good comment there, actually, I liked, which I agree with, was from Liam about Alfie Murney's rescuing from that manager and that team, and I agree, because he's a cracking little player, isn't he?
He is indeed. I think I saw Chris put something similar to that on Twitter, that being a really technical player in that sort of side must be really frustrating at times. Which you can only imagine. Brandon has said, hello, just wanted to get it off my chest. Cheltenham Town should be removed from the EFL immediately, which is fair enough. I don't think there've been many complaints.
Yeah, you know, in their own little way, they actually played. They played it about all right when they got in behind us, and you know, played it through the lines. They actually knocked it about all right. To be fair to them.
They executed their game plan very well. It just wasn't
did,
a very exciting game plan to watch.
No.
Keith has said, while I was frustrated by the opposition, I thought we looked weary, surprised by that as expected at Charlton after a tough midweek game a few days before.
Good point.
Very good point indeed. And Danny has said, despite their ludicrous time wasting, I actually thought Cheltenham defended resolutely and limited our chances well. Didn't get the victory though. More or less mirroring what you said there, Colin. I think that's just about everything. Danny said, time wasting is bad on one hand, but exploiting the head injury rule just takes the biscuit, which is something we will touch on a little bit later. We've got some thoughts on that I'm sure will divide opinion, and you can all join in with us there. Just moving on away from the sort of initial outlook of the match, there was one familiar new face, is one way to put it, in Declan John, obviously seemingly reclaiming his spot in the team. After an impressive display at Charlton for 45 minutes, he came and was back in the side, seemingly after putting whatever troubles it was to bed with Everett, and putting those behind them. So, Ange, what did you think of Declan John's return to the side? Split opinion, I think, on this one. Let us know what you think at home, but Ange, we'll go to you first.
Can I hear myself?
You're gonna have to mute whatever other device you're using, Ange, I reckon.
Yes. Is that better? Yeah. I think it was just a completely different game, wasn't it, to Charlton? I don't want to slate the lad because he's had a lot of time, not even in the squad, let alone on the bench. So he's not quite as matched out, but he's just completely different from how he was at Charlton. I thought he was kind of poor defensively, but then I don't think he was particularly amazing going forward. I just don't think the game suited him. There was a couple of him that the game didn't suit. I'm just a bit concerned about those wing back positions at the minute now. I don't know. I'm not in the business of slating players. I just don't think that was his. Certainly, he didn't shine like he did a little bit when the cameras were on him at Charlton. I'll leave it there.
Colin?
Yeah, I think with Declan yesterday, it was I think you might have touched upon yourself, Ben. I think on Twitter yesterday. I think it was so much as the way that Cheltenham set up in comparison to the way Charlton set up. I think Declan John is a better fullback when the opposition come at us because it leaves space in behind. And essentially that then gives him the opportunities to be the fullback he is. He's an offensive fullback and is a very good fullback going forward. The way Cheltenham set up yesterday were obviously completely different to the way Charlton did. So I think that wasn't ideal for him. But also I think that we had a right-sided centre-half / right back / right winger back playing left-sided centre-half with him in Gethin Jones. And I think, in fairness to Gath, I think Gath actually played all right yesterday under them circumstances, but he didn't give, because he was trying to focus on his own game as much as anything else, he didn't give that protection to Dec. And I think Declan struggled defensively, I think he got caught out of position a couple of times. So a couple of reasons there, I think, why he didn't go according to plan yesterday for Declan John. And as well, the fact that he hasn't played a great deal of football over the last few months, which won't help the situation for him. But personally, I don't know whether or not it's part of our agenda this to speak about it, but for me, I think he still plays next week against Peterborough, for me. Because they'll expect, their fans will expect Peterborough to at least go at us a little bit, which should obviously help him, I think. That's my 2 pence anyway.
It may well be the case. I think the last time we played Peterborough at home, it was a bit of a nothing game. I think the main duel really came through the middle of the park with Santos and is it
Clark Harris?
Clark Harris, yeah, that's the one. That was a really interesting display that played out throughout the course of the 90. But we will touch on that in just a second. Dan has popped a comment on and said, clearly lacking in match fitness, but it'll come. Big improvement down the left and what we have been missing, which is a good point. Liam, he's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. Good to see him back there, just managed differently for his occasional meltdowns. Fair enough. Brandon has said, we all know what we get with Dec. Can't defend, but going forward, he makes a difference. When he goes down and whips in balls, we always look dangerous, but had a bit of a stinker yesterday.
I think he started well, though, didn't he? For the first 10-15 minutes, he looked all right, but as the game went on, I just think he kind of dwindled a bit, didn't he? To be honest.
Yeah,
but he started
and that might be just being that sharpness. It might be a case of, that's his full 90 since I think the back end of October. So that's a long while to be out of football. Danny has said Getha was given some unfair criticism yesterday. He won everything in the air and had zero help from Declan John, which I thought was a good point. I thought aerially, Getha actually really impressed me. He looked strong in the air, and I thought, despite playing in a position that he's not natural with, he's been chucked around in quite a lot of positions under Everett, and I thought he managed that quite well. And another good point from Brandon. No worries. He said, if the excuse Williams need game time, then DJ should be the same, which is a good point, and vice versa. If one player needs game time, I think you can apply that to both of them, since as they've not been out in first team football for quite some time. One player that did impress me actually was Santos. I thought he was back to his very best again yesterday. He won lots of duels and was very ever present in that back line that we know he's capable of, which I'm sure will be music to someone's ears.
Colin.
But yeah, just wanted to touch there. I thought he was really impressive.
Did Williamson play yesterday?
Moving swiftly on, we did run a poll over on Twitter and that was, should Declan John start against Peterborough this Saturday? And I will share the results of that with you all. If I can just share my screen like this. There you go. There are the results. So should Declan John start against Peterborough United? 75% of you, give or take, said yes, and 25% of you said no. So a pretty one-sided thoughts on that.
Is that because we've not got anyone else to play there?
Quite possibly. I'll be interested to hear what you think of that. Colin, what do you think? Do you think he should go in and start against Peterborough, or would you be looking at other options in perhaps George Johnston, should he be miraculously fit so soon, or Randall Williams?
Like I said before, I think Declan starts against Peterborough because they're obviously, well, it's only Peterborough, but they were in the Championship last season. I think there'll be an element of expectation from their fans for them to go at us a little bit, especially obviously being the home team, and they need to look to close that gap to Barnsley, don't they, for that 6th spot. So in Declan John's always more beneficial as a fullback when he's got a bit of space in behind. So yeah, he starts for me. But like Ange just said, we haven't really got a great deal of other options, have we?
I'm pretty sure Randall's got a slight niggle, hasn't he?
Hamstring, yeah. Apparently.
Yeah.
I think Everett said in his post-match that he should be available for Saturday, should he need to be. But
he can play on the right as well, can't he, Randall?
He can indeed, which is another point that I'll touch on after this. Obviously, Bradley picked up a suspension following his laughable booking for time wasting, and will obviously miss, I think, the next 2 games. And so we've been presented with a little bit of a problem in who plays on both the left and the right. Would you play Geth over on the right and possibly bring in new signing Luke and Bete? Or do you play Randall Williams on the right? There's an abundance of options.
Colin, that's a bit
well, yeah, perhaps not an abundance.
Abundance. There's a couple.
There's a couple. You've also got Isgrove, I think, who is also back in the mix.
Yeah, Isgrove's not played as enough to be thrown in. It's simple for me. The lad who we've got from City who's been on Huddersfield starts left side centre half, and Gethin Jones plays right wing back, Declan John left wing back.
What's your back line?
No, sorry, go on.
No, I was going to say, actually, I think that was what I was thinking as well, Colin. It's not a great. We're not in a great situation there. I'm less worried about MK coming to us, but that Peterborough match worries me with our options. Connor needs a rest. Connor's knackered. Connor could do with a rest. So
yeah, he definitely could. I
mean, it's not. It's probably. Hopefully, he's gonna come back out. I don't know, cylinders, because the lads absolutely ran himself ragged, Annie, for us. But yeah, no, I think I agree with Colin's choice of formation there.
I only say that because obviously the lad who's been on loan from Huddersfield from City, he hasn't played a great deal of football for them, hence why he's ended up here. But he's played more football than Isgrove and a slightly injured, would be out of position Williams on the right side. So yeah, that's why he comes in. I'll be very surprised if that isn't the way he goes. Not only that, I think you can trust Geth on the right side against a team who's going to come at us from a defensive point of view, because he's played there for us, hasn't he? And we kind of know what to expect. And I think he's got a good partnership with Owen Tall on that right side of the defence. So yeah, that's the move I think the route we'll go down.
It is a good point, and it'll be an interesting shape no matter who we go with, but one that I hope the lads will be able to overcome. But it will be interesting to see whatever goes for come Peterborough. A lot of people saying a mixed bunch, actually. Danny said, I think Izzy could thrive as right wing back in this system. Rolf fits into a T, just worry about fitness and sharpness. which is a big concern given the number of injuries we have. We need bodies in the squad. Don't really want any more people missing out for injury. Dan agreed with what you said, Ange. A much needed rest for Bradders will do him the world of good. And Brandon mirrored that and said the same thing, which is a good point. A home debut for Victor Adebayo. How do you think he did? Didn't really get much room to show off his talent. I think Everett said that in his post-match interview as well. Low block sides are always difficult to play against, and probably one that strikers don't really enjoy as much as the free-flowing teams. But I didn't think he was bad by any stretch of the imagination. Colin, what did you make of his home debut yesterday?
I think he was probably trying a little bit too hard yesterday. I got that impression. I think when we were watching him, it was my brother made a couple of points that his runs were. He wasn't staying central. He was trying to pull out and he was trying to drop in and he was trying to hunt for the ball and he was just trying a little bit too hard to get himself in them positions really to try and create. Maybe a bit of that is because he knows he can, and obviously Cheltenham away last week he started the move for the second goal, didn't he? So yeah, but I think a big thing as well with his debut yesterday was playing as a two. It takes a little bit of time for a new partnership to click, and I think you can see they were a little bit rusty. Dion yesterday and Adebayo, or however the hell you pronounce his name.
Victor,
that'd be easier. We've got some bloody names, haven't we? I'll try and get out there.
Victor, Dan.
I like to think I've got an half decent vocabulary, but I'm struggling a little bit with some of them. So yeah, I just think he's a little bit. I think they were a little bit rusty. I think he was trying a little bit too hard, and I think I'll probably go with Cameron Jerome next week against Peterborough. A bit more wiser, and I think he'll get his goal. Victor against MK Dons because they're pretty poor.
Good point. Be interesting to see what the forward lineup will be. Whether Jerome will come in and try and act as that leader that we have pretty hugely missed in some of those big games against some of the top six sides, which I think was a topic of concern for quite a few fans as of late. But Ange, what do you think? What did you make of his home debut?
You can see it. He's hungry. He's like Colin said. I think he probably was trying a little bit too hard. It wasn't him and Shola both were quiet yesterday. There was no space anywhere, was there? It was just jam packed. Not nothing to worry about. I think he will shine in other games. And that's why we've got a few of them, because they're all suited to different games. Also, the partnership thing. I'm just repeating what Colin said, basically.
Yeah, Danny's made a good point, and he said, I think he was asking a question rather than saying what he thinks. But Lee behind Dion and Shola versus Peterborough, which is exactly what we saw against Charlton. And it seemed to work very well, actually. Could that be something we see? Who knows?
It was working well. It was working really well, wasn't it, against Charlton? It was nice. It was exciting to watch. I was edge of the seat stuff. Yeah, I wouldn't mind that at all.
What about you, Colin?
I seen a question there. I think it was a guy called Keith Swindle. He's asked, would we take a point? I think I absolutely would, and I'm shocking myself by saying that because I'm an advocate of the fact that we are still able to close that gap on that top two. But when you come up against an experienced Peterborough side who've seen it, done it, they've got a manager who's got the t-shirt as well, and they've got a bit of a bounce as well. I just think that when you go a little bit kind of gung-ho, and I know obviously playing one forward instead of playing two, be it Jerome or be it Victor, I'm contradicting myself in a way, but I think Cameron Jerome would offer you that little bit of experience and know-how and how to manage that game and try and get that point that Keith's referring to. And obviously, if there's an opportunity to win it later on or within 20 minutes, half an hour to go, then bring another forward on and go for it. But yeah, I'd start with your two forwards, and I'd start with Kieran Lee in behind again for that from that experience point of view.
Very good point, and lots of comments coming in. Thank you all for contributing. We do very much appreciate it. Mark said, "Got to keep Vic and Charles up top. Only way they will click. Can't keep changing," which is another good point. Sometimes some of the squad rotation we've seen over the season perhaps hasn't done our players any favours. So it'll be interesting to see definitely what the lineup will be.
It's a good point. That it is a good point. You need that. I've literally just said it 5 minutes ago that the forwards looked a bit rusty and they weren't clicking. And he's right. He's spot on. Maybe.
And then you just took Victor straight out the team.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Yeah, I'm just thinking.
Give him a minute, the lad.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking opposition, and I'm thinking the need to continue to pick up results, but. It's a very, very, very.
Do you not just bring Cameron on a bit sooner in that situation? Do you not bring him in at 60, 65?
Probably, yeah. Probably. I'm probably contradicting myself there, aren't I?
It's
a hard job, isn't it? It's a hard job.
It is. Everett will probably be in the exact same boat, thinking of, does he need experience to keep his team, settled and not go away from home, conceding an early goal and give ourselves a mountain to climb, or does he really go for it and put our most aggressive forwards out and try and accelerate that relationship as quickly as possible?
I'm loving these comments, me, because that David Walls just made a really good point again, and people forget that we've still got these fixtures to come. His most recent comment is spot on.
I believe it's this one.
Yeah, it's spot on.
David said we need to make sure we're ready for March, where we play Ipswich, Sheffield Wednesday, and Plymouth. Which is a good point. That is a tough one.
We don't play Plymouth, do we? We've played them twice already, haven't we?
No, we've done home and away, haven't we, Plymouth?
Come on, David, check that fixture list. I know we've got Ipswich and Sheffield Wednesday.
Well, whoever we play, I know we play them too, which is a tough run of fixtures to put together in 1 month. So with a lot of fixtures coming around the corner that are going to possibly be very important come the end of the season, Everett's going to have a bit of a headache choosing his team over the coming weeks. Moving slightly on, slightly backwards actually to the Cheltenham game. Another clean sheet, which is always a positive, I think, which was a record-breaking one, if I remember correctly. I think Trafford has got another record. I think he broke his own record for the most consecutive.
He's very blasé about his record breaking, isn't
he?
It's like he knows. Well, I'll be playing for City next season.
Yeah, there's gonna be more records for this lad.
I'm playing in Champions League next season. I don't give a shit about these records. No, I'm sure it's not his sort of process, but he does seem he's very laid back lad, isn't he? Christ.
I think just in every bit of his life, he's just horizontal, that lad. Absolutely brilliant.
He is. He's seemingly very mature for his age. You wouldn't guess that it was a 19-year-old playing in net. Really impressive. But like I said, another clean sheet. And just touching on the point that I think both of you raised before, actually, that we don't always win pretty, but we're winning. And that's 3 points that last season could have quite easily been 1 point or even possibly no points. And so
do you remember when we used to play pretty and lose? Bad times then.
I do indeed. There just seems to be that bite in them, that are able to go against those poorer sides, but still put in a shift and win dirty.
It comes from that midfield for me. That's why we're grinding these results out. Aaron Moore was fantastic again yesterday. His ball retention, distribution is next level. Obviously, Dent's won the game. And we just got that consistency within that midfield is the reason why we're grinding these wins out in my eyes.
It's a good point. Very good point. The midfield for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I think, has been really, really strong. And who knows, that might be down to just some consistency in who's playing there. I think that has been one area that's been subject to chop and change. But I think more through injuries than anything that
we haven't got anyone else.
We're forced to play the same 3 or 4 players in there, and obviously it's working wonders. We will touch now on the head injury rule. Obviously, Cheltenham seemingly quick to exploit that on a number of occasions yesterday, as we've seen with a lot of teams this season. And it's one that has split opinion on Twitter, both in the ways of how it works and possible ways of looking at the rule and changing it to stop teams using it and abusing it, because it is very frustrating. And just, I think that the stopping the game for injuries as a whole, there was an instance where there was a Cheltenham player who was off the pitch, sat on the floor, got up, was perfectly fine, walked onto the pitch and then sat down again, which is just bonkers to think that players can do that and get away with it. So before we look at like solutions or changes to the rule, what do you make of those sorts of situations? Because some will call it game management, but it's cheating, as far as I'm concerned. Colin, what do you make of it all? What do you just have a bit of a rant? I suppose I'm inviting you to have a rant.
It's not cheating. It's not cheating. I'm sorry, Ben. It's frustrating. It's wrong, but I wouldn't say it's cheating because you look at the players that we've got at our disposal compared to them. If we were all sat here as Cheltenham fans, we'd be going, you know what, fucking fair play to us. You know what I mean? We've got a cracking result against a team. Well, we nearly got a cracking result against a team who's flying. What needs to happen is the management on the pitch, i.e., the fourth official who do frig all, the linesmen and the referees. They need to manage the game properly. Because that's the reason why they capitalise on it. Whether it be lad getting up and falling up, coming back on the pitch when he were already off the pitch. Prior to that, have a word with the doctor at half time. You know what I mean? And it's obvious. There's nearly 20,000 people there. It's obvious the lad who got hit yesterday when the free kick hit him in the face was just fainting it. So have a word with the doctor at half time. If that carries on, have a word with him. Do you know what I mean? Because it's wrong or whatever it might be. The referee, it's up to the referees to manage the situation, but also it's up to us to manage the situation as well. We had ample opportunities to finish that game off yesterday in the first half. Dion Charles runs through on goal. Connor Bradley takes the ball off Victor Adebayo when he's running through on goal. Carl Dempsey hits the post when he probably should have done better. That's just 3 off the top of my head. We had plenty of opportunities to put the game to bed, or certainly out of the reach of the opposition yesterday, which would have prevented all of this coming into play because they wouldn't be wasting time. They won't be feigning injuries, yada, 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 yada. So it's twofold. It's the referee needs to manage the game better, and we need to take advantage of our abilities and put the game to bed, in my opinion.
Ange, what do you think? Do you agree with that?
Yeah, in the part, yeah, mostly. I mostly agree. And I said to little Ron who sits next to me, I said, we need to score a goal here, Ron, to stop these pissing about, because that was the only way that they were going to stop, wasn't it? But I also watch a bit of rugby, and I also believe that we should have similar rules that they do for rugby. They get them off, they have a proper concussion test, it's 10 minutes or something, you get another sub on. That rule about a head injury was put in place to look after players, and people are taking the piss out of it. It's cheating. That isn't game management. That's not taking longer for a throw in. That's not going down on the ball when you're a goalkeeper. It's taking the piss out of a safeguarding rule.
It is, but going down, getting back up off your feet and going back on the floor is cheating, but it's also game management. It's the same thing.
But when it's a head injury, you know that they have to stop the game. It's bloody cheating.
I'd expect us to do it if we went to, let's say we get promoted this season and end up going to Sheffield United away next season, and we need points to get into the playoffs, or we're 1-0 up with 5 minutes to go. I'd expect us to do that. You do anything to win. Martinez won the World Cup for Argentina by cheating, but he won the World Cup. It's about winning. Simple as that. Or it's about picking up results.
I reckon Colin cheats at Monopoly.
I just think we're just a little bit naive. I think we can be a little bit naive sometimes as British football fans.
There's plenty dark arts you can practice without exploiting the head injury rule for me. I just think it's cheating and it's a no-no.
They need. If you look at the league, there's 4 elite clubs in this league. There's us, Derby, Ipswich, and Sheffield Wednesday. The rest of the clubs, barring Plymouth, who seem to loan every bugger, and that's probably the reason why they're doing so well. That's all they have at their disposal. The slight little bits of anything they can get to get that extra advantage over us, because they don't have the resources. So you can't blame them. I don't know whether it does go on.
No, you can't blame him, Colin, because the referees are appalling. You cannot blame them for exploiting that rule, because the referees and they've got no control over the game whatsoever. It's like Mark just said. How many minutes would they played extra in the World? 20 minutes or something on some of the games in the World Cup, because they stopped the game while they pissed about on the pitch. And that's where it should be. 4 or 5 minutes max. Sometimes you get the odd 6 for us. It's just, it's.
I do think this students stop doing it if they started adding on like ridiculous.
Stop the clock properly, like rugby. When it goes out of play, the clock is stopped and it doesn't start again until the ball is back in play. There was an earlier comment. Somebody had actually timed how long he made that comment. Was it David?
I think it was something like 20 up until our goal. I think it was 27 minutes. I think the ball was out of play for.
It's ridiculous.
Ooh, that's mad, that.
I want half my ticket price. Do you know what I mean? Like, you travel to see a game of football and you're getting half an hour of pissing about.
We're annoyed and we won.
I know. I can't. I did nothing but rant last night. Every WhatsApp.
Imagine if we drew the game yesterday.
I know. I was fuming. I wasn't celebrating a win. I was fuming over that whole Cheltenham performance. Drove me insane.
It's a frustrating one. David Green's, I think he said 24 minutes 17 seconds. So that's how long I think the ball was out of play for, which in a game, that's a third of the game, which is very frustrating.
Then also, sorry, can I just carry on with the rant? Because then Conor Bradley gets a throw in, throws it onto someone else, and he gets booked. Like, what? What is that? There's no consistency with the officiating. It drives me insane.
That is a big thing.
I'll start ranting now.
That is one of the big things, the lack of consistency in officiating in the decisions in games. That from minute one, it should be consistent, and it's not. Games are controlled, or should be controlled by the referees, and the second players get the slightest whiff of the referee, the third official, fourth official, all the linesmen not doing their job properly. They're gonna take the piss because they know that they can get away with it. And I do think the core of the problems do start from the referees and the officials not doing either a good enough job or a consistent enough job managing the game as they should be.
It wouldn't do any harm for the fourth official to just have a stopwatch around his neck and just
do something. Give him something to do, Jesus.
And go to the ref. That's how long it's been, I suppose.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see. Obviously, the World Cup. I'm not sure if there's some stats on it, but the amount of teams that scored in extra time, I'm sure, was probably quite a lot.
In the World Cup, though, they didn't add time on for gamesmanship, though, did they?
It was when the ball was out of play, the thing was
Right.
stopped. So things like throw-ins, corners, I think for injuries as well. When the ball wasn't being played, basically the clock was stopped.
Did they just do that to ensure more drama and more late goals and more likes and more retweets and more watches and stuff?
Who knows?
For sponsors and stuff. That'd be my guess.
Who knows?
But I do think Howard Webb's in charge of the officiating in this country now, and I always liked him as a referee. And I think if he's got anything about him, I'm sure a lot more than Mike fucking Riley. I'm sure he'll introduce some new, more, beneficial rules for all involved, really.
I've just spotted Lou's comment, and did you see that thing at Chef West where they had a goal ruled offside because the linesman had watched the replay on the big screen? So he didn't flag for offside. He didn't flag for offside. He played on the big screen and he put it up retrospectively and it got disallowed. So,
oh my God.
Just that. What is going on? What is going on? The officiating is a disgrace.
It really is.
They're not full time, are they? That's another problem, isn't it?
No.
It's absolutely that's the biggest issue. I think that they're not full time professionals.
Mm.
Speaking still on the topic of game management or time wasting, whatever you want to call it, Cameron Jerome had his little go of it late on in the second half, which I think was slightly more justified given that it was whilst the ball was in play. He wasn't
his feet, exactly.
Yeah, he wasn't pissing about on the floor and rolling around or holding his head or anything. But there were people that didn't take too kindly to that and said that playing at home against Cheltenham, we shouldn't be taking the ball to the corner, which I thought was slightly harsh, but I'd be interested to hear what you two thought about that. Ange, did you see his game management as a positive or a negative?
You do what you've got to do. It was a game that we were like wading through bloody treacle. If he wants to play the ball in the corner, then he plays the ball in the corner. He's a pro. Do you know what I mean? He's whatever he is, 30, whatever. What is he, 36?
36, I think.
36-year-old professional footballer. If he thinks that's what we need to do, then that's what we do. And I've got no shame. I'd much rather him do that than on the floor.
Good point. Colin?
He's what we've missed, isn't it? Really. I think just both around the club and the training ground, and obviously on a match day. I noticed as well actually when Demps scored, he actually went for the ball. You know the little videos that they show when he buried it from edge of box. Cameron Jerome ran after the ball and tried to pick it up off the keeper in the net to run away with the ball. And obviously the keeper beat him to it. But them type of things, he just kept hold of that ball and just ran off and celebrated with it. But that's using your brain, innit? And that's what we've missed massively. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that transfer. I'll be honest. I think he might be quite a look back in a couple of months and be thinking, yeah, it's quite a good move that from the club.
Savvy buy that one, I reckon.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Lots of comments coming in about the ball boy. Not sure if you both saw that, but I certainly did and enjoyed every second of it. For those of you who didn't see it or weren't at the game so couldn't see it, there was an incident late on in the second half. I'm not sure if it was before or after we scored, but the ball had gone out of play behind the Cheltenham goal, and the ball boy was taking his time to go and get it. And there was I think it was one of their centre halves and the Cheltenham goalkeeper that were urging the ball boy forward and trying to get them to hurry up. And he sort of just held the ball out in front of him and flicked his wrist as if to say, come and get it then. And I think Mark Isles actually commented on that as well and said that man of the match goes to the ball boy. But yeah, it was funny. But it's one of those that, if you go to an away ground and see that and it's done against you, you think,
I'm raging. I'm absolutely fuming if that happens against us.
Yeah.
Chris has made a good point, and I thought he were. He's a academy lad, isn't he? And they
is it under 18s? Yeah,
that's a smart move. That a very smart move to have that. Get some used to the environment as well, doesn't it? As young lads coming through and that. Yeah, good move. Good, well done, ball boy.
Yep, indeed.
Can't see a great deal because I'm in North Upper, so it's a bit of a distance. But I've seen what was going on roughly, but
need some of them theatre glasses.
I can't be entirely sure, but I think there was an incident before it with that ball boy.
Did he get pushed? I'm sure he got pushed or something.
So. I think so, and that's sort of what made it funnier. I think he was pushed whilst trying to get the ball or give the ball back, albeit relatively slowly. In terms of actual man of the matches, including players on the pitch and those only, we will do Fanzone man of the match. I think there's one of two for me between Santos and Dempsey. I thought they both were really, really good. But I'm going to give it to Dempsey. He produced a moment of magic to win us the game. Could it have been someone else? Quite possibly, but I'm going to give it to Dempsey. I thought he was good all game and always looked like, troubling the keeper. I think Colin said he hit the post with one of his, and it looked like it was coming all the time. So for me, that's my man of the match. Ange, who are you giving it to?
Kyle Dempsey. When you've done with this, what's Dan Sumner going on about that we've overlooked something? I don't know.
I'm not sure. Dan, if you want to pop it in the chat again, we'll have a look at it. There are quite a lot of
comments, Dan. It's hard to keep track when you're chatting and then trying to keep track. So
I'm really struggling. We need someone else to just. We need a comment reader.
And keep the comments coming. The more comments, the better. That's what we want.
Indeed. And your man of the match, Dempsey, yeah?
Dempsey, yeah.
Colin, yours?
Going to throw a spanner into the works here, guys. I was only one of, I think, 5% of people who voted Aaron Morley as the man of the match. My man of the match yesterday was Aaron Morley. I thought his ball, his distribution, his composure, is absolutely critical to the way we play. It allows us to get forward and he rotates the ball well, and he obviously started the move for the goal as well. He's a critical player to our team, and I thought he was absolutely outstanding in the middle of the park. Never misplaced the pass. Uses it so well, and I think is probably one of the main reasons why we're managing to grind results out, because he's just there, isn't he? And he just uses it.
It is very, very easy to overlook the player in that role. We had it with MJ an abundance of times, but I think with Morley, because he's perhaps less involved in the dirty work, but more just so technically good, it's easy to overlook him.
I think
unless he scores, it's hard to acknowledge what he actually does, but he's so pivotal in the way they play.
Massive.
He has all the technicality that MJ missed in that deep line role. So I agree with you on that point.
I like MJ. I still like MJ. I think he's a good player at this level, but Morley's just gone that extra level above. I think he seems to be learning as well. I spent quite a bit yesterday just watching him, and he's always got space. If he adds goals to his game, then he'll go on to the next level and probably above. Fantastic footballer, and that's why I give him man of the match yesterday for me. I thought he was brilliant.
Indeed. Got a few comments in. Dan, I found yours. We will go back to it. But in terms of man of the matches, Malk has said Dempsey's man of the match. David Green agreed and has given Dempsey his man of the match award. Chris Dawson said Santos for him. Danny voted for Santos on the poll as well. And Liam also went with Santos, which is all fair comments. There were a number of players, I think, that stood out, but those three in particular were up there for me. Dan's comment that was overlooked, which won't be overlooked, was When teams win the toss and switch ends, it knocks us and frustrates us. We don't play as well when that happens. Be interested to see the stats on it, which is another one of those just minor inconveniences that teams just want to come in and ruffle feathers and just do everything in their power to upset us and
that's a good point. That's a very, very good point. And Dan, that is something
They're the dark arts I agree with. Do that shit.
Yeah, attacking the north stand in the second half is something we've done since the stadium opened, and it does, historically speaking, it's always knocked us, whatever team it is, whether it be this one or any previous, it's always knocked us off a little bit when we have to attack the north stand in the first half. So it's got a good point, that. Very good point.
It is indeed.
Well, then, like Chris Dawson said, didn't work though.
Nope, it didn't.
That's right.
Fortunately for us, it didn't work to its full effect. Something else that we'll touch on. I am not sure how many of you watching this or listening to this, if you are on Spotify, the day after, will have watched or attended the AGM that was ran by the Supporters Trust, which I believe was on Thursday. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah.
Was on Thursday. So the Supporters Trust did an AGM in which Ian Evatt and Neil Hart were in attendance and just ran through some things with the Supporters Trust and the other fans. Colin and Ange were there in attendance representing the Fanzone Pod. No, Ange was there with her game too, and Colin. Colin was there for the Fanzone Pod.
I was on YouTube. I was on YouTube, mate. I didn't go to the event. Angela did. She getting pictures with Everett and all sorts, weren't she? So.
Yeah, we're Bolton Wanderers her game too is an affiliate of Bolton Wanderers Supporters Trust, so we were invited to kind of go down there.
Fantastic.
We invited to get pictures with Everett as well. Oh, just
no, that was my choice.
But some of the points in that price free, well, not announced in that, but something that has come out since then. Obviously, all of you will be aware that early bird season tickets are now on sale, and the prices.
Go and buy one. Go and buy one. If you've not bought one, go and buy one, or make sure you plan on buying one.
Price.
And I'm also in that video.
By the way, everybody, the 24 people that are listening, what Angela's going to do, she's going to get that picture that she's referring to printed out, and she's going to start signing them and sending them. Direct message us your email addresses, and Angela will post out some
for a small fee towards the Fanzone Pod.
Absolutely, yeah. We'll be on Patreon soon enough, and you can all pay to watch us. But yes, the season ticket prices have been frozen. So they are the same price as you will have paid last season if you renew them at the early bird thing, which is just a nice touch, I think. I saw a lot of people agreeing that it could have been really easy for the club to just add an extra, 20, 30 quid onto the price of a season ticket. With the rate that things are going up everywhere else. So it was nice to see that the tickets had been frozen in price. Chris has said, who's renewed? Quick poll, stroke poll. One day we'll get to the bottom of that. Colin, have you renewed?
No, not yet. No.
Colin!
I've not renewed yet. I have to ask the missus if I can take the money at the savings before I do it. I might ask her. No, I'm not joking. No, I've just not got around to it. I'll. To be honest with you, the reason why I've not done it yet is they did a dad and a lad last season, so I can't remember the exact figure, but I'm pretty sure.
Dad and a lad, or is that a family ticket?
Well, I don't know.
Some mums and sons and mums and daughters.
Sorry, whatever. Yeah.
Not very politically correct there, I call it.
Forget we're in 2022, aren't we? So I gotta be straight and politically correct. Yes, family ticket. Sorry, they did a mum, dad, gender neutral, and
they did an adult and a small person ticket.
Gender neutral, small person ticket as well. Yeah, sorry, and I don't know whether or not they did. I don't think they're doing it this season at the same price. So I don't know whether to get my son one or not. I'm assuming an R, and that's why I've not got it yet. Not that I should have to justify myself. I will be getting one, like for the 26th season or 2017 or whatever.
Lots of people asking questions on this the name of the new stadium as well. There's been some pretty good suggestions that have come in. One of which, Pasty Park, the Bolton News Stadium, Cars Pasty Stadium, which I think has been around for ages. People suggesting that. But yeah, what another thing that was mentioned in the AGM, is that there is a new naming rights sponsor for the stadium, which is a record-breaking deal, which is another, in terms of the commercial sides of how the club is run and the business that it brings in, outside of the football, another positive step.
Sorry, I'm a massive fan of Ricky Gervais, and as a result, I'm a massive fan of Warwick Davis. And I've just seen what Liam's put. It just tickled me. I just gotta call it.
Another one of Warwick Davis.
Yeah. Good enough. Tickle me out. Sorry. Season ticket.
No. It's something that we've touched on loads of times. Those incremental gains that we're making as a club in total, on the pitch and off the pitch. It's just always nice to see. Another point that was raised in that AGM, there was championship interest in Everett last season, and he stayed put. Obviously, he's still with us. I think the number was 3 championship clubs that were picking up the phone and asking him on his availability, and his response was he's not available.
Just said I am not available, and that was the conversation ended. He wouldn't tell us who the 3 clubs were either.
He wouldn't.
No.
I would hazard a guess one of them.
You could hazard a guess, couldn't you? But he didn't. He wouldn't divulge that information.
One of them would have been
Blackpool,
wouldn't it? One of them would have been Blackpool before they appointed the guy that just sacked. So
you'd have thought so, yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it's nice. It certainly feels like we're heading in the right direction, and we've got the right people at the helm to take us there.
You know what I liked about what he said? I made some notes during the AGM when he said about Sharon's help mentor him off the field.
Yes, I liked that.
That was a good and interesting thing to hear, weren't it? Like, in what sense? Like, that's what made me think. Like, in what capacity has she done that?
And also, I didn't have him down as a churchgoer, so he goes to church every Sunday. His faith is very important to him.
Other religions are available.
Don't know which church. So, didn't say what kind of church it was.
No, yeah, true. Gosh,
just done you again. I agree, Colin. I think their relationship is special. I think that's what's going to keep him with us. So when football ventures sell up.
Yep. It is. It's nice to see. Some of the comments I'm seeing on the right side of here, I can't. I don't think I can read them out because I think we'll probably end up getting cancelled or something. But yes, I'm going to move away from that.
I'm not going to speculate on any naming because we will wait till it's announced. But yeah, we've heard plenty of rumours.
Yes, there are plenty of rumours knocking about. All that we do know is that there is a lot of money being invested, which is a positive sign, as always. Another point from the AGM is that Wanderers TV is on its way back to us. iFollow raised £500,000 last season in total.
That's a phenomenal figure, that.
It is indeed. It really is.
It's much more than I thought it would be.
How does that compare? If anybody knows in the chat, how does that compare to other clubs that are in our league or in our level at present?
Does anybody? Sorry, some of these.
I mean, we could ask Andy Holt. Is it? What does he get, about 50p?
Yeah, I was just about to say, did anyone remember the paddy that Andy Holt had about how much he got in a season?
Just be interesting to know what it compares against, like the other clubs.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
I'm sure it ranks pretty highly.
Yeah.
So yeah, Wanderers TV is on its way back, which is another. incentive that the commercial side of the club is really growing and developing and is being taken to new heights, which we haven't seen for quite some time. And hopefully, some of these comments, I just can't. My brain is completely.
Ben's really struggling. You're really struggling tonight, aren't you, Ben? I can
Yeah,
see
I am.
a little brain like.
Everyone's thrown me off. Louise has just said that I got a quid from iFollow.
Yeah.
Everyone's just bombarding me with comments. But yeah, it's just nice to see that those gains that we're making and progress off the pitch are ever present, and hopefully it will be a good investment for the club.
On the investment front, I made a note saying that investment, there was no concerns if we don't get promoted. Investment, not looking for any further investment, but might change if we get promoted. No concerns around the ownership group as a whole. That's a comment. That was one of the comments that was made on the investment side of things, which is kind of reassuring, but I guess probably just giving us a bit of lip service, to be honest. But
also, somebody did mention about if it had been recorded. The AGM that was on Thursday was a Supporters Trust AGM. It just so happened that they invited Ian and Neil to do a Q&A session. So if you are a fully paid up member of the Supporters Trust, then you automatically get the link to either join it online or you can do an Eventbrite ticket and go in person. So that's your best way to the Supporters Trust has got a really, really good relationship with the club, a really solid relationship. I think there's a real mutual respect there. So I would recommend. I'm a member.
Same here. It's a tenner a year as well, guys. So it's not exactly
tenner a year.
Expensive. It gives you the opportunity as well to voice your opinions and your thoughts, and allow us to have that communication with the club, which is obviously really important. It's not some
questions every time there's a meeting. So they meet with the club. It might be once every 2 months or something, but they ask members if there's anything that they've got, any burning issues they've got, if they want to Neil. I think if you just meet with Neil, it's more like, the car parking. Incidentally, every single penny of car parking money goes into the club. Every single penny, unless you don't pay it, and then the fines go to the parking eye people. So that also I didn't know. That was an AGM revelation.
Tell Liam, to answer your question, the Supporters Trust contributed quite heavily. I'm sure Ange can elaborate more on that on the Fanzone, and obviously that wasn't free, and the club didn't pay for that direct. So it's things like that, and I'm guessing the more Ange again elaborate more than me, the more members that the Supporters Trust has, the more things that they can invest in, and more things that can be beneficial for the club and its fans as a whole.
Those people that sit on that board are not making money from this. They, if anything, probably out of pocket for the stuff they do. They're a really good bunch of people.
They are indeed. Lots of exciting news coming out of that corner. And as Ange said, the trust is a perfect place for people that have questions that they want to raise directly with the club, or any burning issues and things like that. It's a way of communicating with the club and really bringing that one club, one community, one town ethos that they're working tirelessly to implement.
Even though you can be a member and not live in the town, like me.
Well, yeah, you can do. It's not restricted by geography. Got to make that a disclaimer. But we do actually have some exciting news of our own. We've got 3 special-ish announcements that we're going to bring to you. Some exciting news from the Fanzone Pod. You heard it here first, so to speak. Some of you might have seen already on Twitter and on our socials, which you can find at the bottom of the screen there. We are active on all of them. Marcus Harrison, guest episode is coming very soon. So Wednesday, the 8th of February at 7:30 p.m.
Just tell the guys who Marcus is, just for the people who don't know.
Yes, of course. If you don't know who Marcus is, he is the one responsible for all the fancy videos you see on Twitter. So he's the club's videographer. I think he's been there since March last year. So all the fancy bench cam footage that you've seen, all the drone footage of the ground in all its glory, the inside match day stuff, I think is all filmed by Marcus.
It is live, Danny. Sorry,
it is
live or recorded. Yeah, it's a live one.
It'll be live. It'll go onto Spotify once it's been live, but you will be able to join us live and pop in your questions should you have them on the 8th of February, 7:30 p.m. So put it in your calendars, put it in your diaries. You don't want to miss it. You can send in your questions via social media. So if you want to just pop a question in our DMs or in a reply to one of our tweets, then you can do, or you can send them into our email, which is the fanzonepod@gmail.com.
Which I didn't even know we had, Ben, until you put that out this week. I was like, we've got an email address.
we do it official over here, and but yes, for those of you that have already sent your questions in, thank you. They will be included should we have time to go through them all. But if you want to send in any, you know what to do. Another bit of exciting news that we've got. All we can say so far is make sure you're tuned in for the Peterborough episode, which of course will be next weekend. So a week today. You don't want to miss that one because it's going to be an exciting one. That's all we can really say at the minute, but it's one that I'm sure you will all enjoy.
I've got anxiety. I feel like you.
You probably dangled the carrot there.
Yeah.
I have to. I can say no more. My lips are sealed. If you want to find out what it is, then you're gonna have to come and watch.
I think you will anyway.
Next Sunday.
Yeah, I think you will anyway.
And the third bit of exciting news. Some of you might have seen this on Twitter as well. Thanks to a generous donation from someone who I believe is in the chat with us now. The rollover for our match day competitions has been confirmed, and that'll be right through to the end of the season. So if you aren't familiar with that, over on our Twitter, which is @thefanzonepod, we do a competition every match day where we give away £5, which has been accumulated. The prize pot now sits at 20 Great British pounds. So if you want to get yourself 20 quid richer, all you've got to do is on a match day, head over to our Twitter and you'll see it. There will be a tweet that goes out, and all you have to do is guess the correct full-time score, first goal scorer, and the goal time, so the minute that first goal is scored. And if you get all of those right, you will win whatever is in the prize pot. So come the end of the season, you could find yourself £95 richer. Yes, absolutely. Can we get an ooh in the chat?
Rolling over by £5 every week, innit? Every game week, should we say?
Every game, yeah. So if you want to get involved with that, just head over to our Twitter, which, as I said, is @thefanzonepod. In answer to your question, any clues, Danny? No, you have to come and watch. I can't give you anything else other than you have to come and watch, which I'm sure all of you will be doing anyway. We've got ourselves some regulars, which is lovely to see.
Hopefully, that's whetted your appetite, Ben's.
Oh, yes, I like it, Colin.
So yeah, get yourself tuned in because it's one that we're definitely looking forward to, and more to come on that very, very soon. Before we sign off, though, and before we end the episode for tonight, remember, we are on social media. We are there. We are ever present. It's not just the live podcast that we do. There is all sorts of polls and competitions and things like that that you can get involved with. So you can see them all at the bottom of the screen there.
There'll be more as well, won't there, Ben? Over the next few months, there's going to be more and more competitions and all that type of lovely stuff.
So we're basically going to have to give our jobs up and just do this full time.
400 quid a month gas and electric bill.
No. So yes, we are over there, and there is more to come. Sars isn't coming on the pod.
Not on the pod.
He's not.
Who is that?
Imagine that.
I think we'd really struggle to pull that one off. I'll be completely honest with you. I don't think he's a fan favourite. So yes, head over to our social channels, give us a follow. If you're watching on YouTube, you know the drill. Subscribe and hit the bell and you'll be notified every time we go live, but there is plenty more to come. And that all starts next week, Sunday, 7:30 p.m. Be there or be square. So I will sign off there, and we will see you on Wednesday for our episode with Marcus, and then we'll see you on Sunday for our extra special episode. We will see you all later, and take care.
Which is the extra special episode, Ben? Is it the one with Marcus, or is it the one on Sunday, or both?
Oh, I couldn't possibly comment.
Special of each other.
They are equally important.
Equally special.
Hope you all enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.
Lovely evening, guys.
Bye.